Good morning. It is a science and humanities class. This is about the science as well as humanities. This week is about 10th, right? After midterm examinations, 2 weeks after. And today and Tuesday class through Thursday class, we are going to discuss being extended from the last week discussion on automations and infrastructure. So we would like to take one example out of sanitation system as platform, as code. So we are taking one specific examples titled BeeVi. So I would like to get it in seconds. So I hope you enjoy the music I previously. Okay. Okay. Where is it? Okay. Last week we shared this cartoon with kind of the coded platform out of energy strategic energy supply to the public, accepting the optional selections by the public with the various different resources of electricity, even though the Korean electricity supplier give us one unit of the electricity circuit, but we imaginary design of this types of various circuit to be selected by the public, so that we have new the kind of pragmatic types of energy democracy out of this one. Every day base and every time base, every second basis, we have statistics of the optional direction selection by the public. Then we transfer those are the selections with the meaningful choices by the public into energy the policies, instead of taking very the rough opinion survey types of investigation to be implemented through energy policy into implementation of energy the industries. So the test we already discussed those one is one optional example of the coded platform between the end user and the infrastructure. So with respect to energy. And then we already know this one energy system can be extended into energy democracy if we take those into a the kind of coded platform. So that we have the data produced by the public every time basis, based on the cloud system of the platform, right? That's those one example of intermediate. So today I'd like to take another example of an infrastructure as a platform as code. So I'd like to take the BeeVi toilet system. BeeVi toilet system. So have you heard about the BeeVi? So I'm not sure you heard about it and experienced those toilet, the building inside our UNIST campus. Have you? Probably not under this the pandemic situations. So very difficult to visit the campus directly to experience couple facilities to experience these types of communications in terms of the scientific approach, scientific experiment to that. How about the sanitation system at present? Prior to discussing about our infrastructure, the specifically platform as a code, how about that? So we would like to discuss or discuss the prior to those that the sanitation system at present we are using everyday base, specifically focusing on toilet. So why we care about these types of approach? So by switching the present toilet system into alternative toilet system as a platform as a code. The reason why is to challenge big data. Otherwise, we always being used to produce as sometimes a cyborgs, but unfortunately, sadly, sometimes the zombie types of the person to produce the data and to be collected by the big brother types of a company to design their own the logics behind the big data and to spread through advertising. So then we don't recognize we are being used to produce simply data into those cloud system to be used for their own the big brother types of the company. So then, as we already mentioned, so we would like to challenge, we would like to be against those logic with big data, because we are living in right now a transition period from Anthropocene to the Anthropocene. In an era of the Anthropocene, so we are, of course, this is so extreme cases. We are only being to produce data, even though data is a new oil, so we deserve to get some kind of a profit, so income from the system of this infrastructure as a code. But so sometimes we would like to challenge, we would like to be independent from big data. So that's why, so today we I like to share one specific examples how we be how we that can be against those the big data companies. Okay, that's why I selected BeeVi toilet systems from environmental sector. Okay, please look at this one. So please look at this the present sanitation system. Present sanitation system we've been using for the couple of decades, from invention of wastewater treatment plant. So with the flushing toilet, Okay, so we are using flushing toilet. Flushing toilet. Why we can? So do you think why we can use a flushing toilet? Simply flushing with water our urine and poo and the feces into the pipeline, and then we can keep our environment as clean as possible through this the sanitation systems. All those present sanitation system of ours start from a flushing toilet. We don't have any doubt flushing toilet is one of the great inventions of humankind to keep our environment as clean and as safe as we can to keep those a long time ago. And then once our flushing our urine and feces into the pipeline with the water, together with the water, those waste from the human bodies, the transfer into wastewater treatment plant. So in return, being served by these sanitation system. So we pay wastewater treatment fee, the fee. Okay. So how much we actually flushing those one a day? How many times you put your urine into the flushing toilet? About 10 times, right? Or 6 times, depending on persons. And once a day, approximately. So you put your feces into the flushing toilet to be flushed into the wastewaters. So, and the government persons and or other the companies operating wastewater treatment plant for us to treat the wastewater, including our feces and urine and other shower water. So even from industrial sectors, because they discharge as well their wastewater from their factory productions procedure, and then combine those wastewater operated their facilities to treat those using biological, chemicals, physical treatment process, and then they even they treating to the maximum and flush treated water into river adjacent discharging the area, okay, including sea and the river. So those are cycle of our wastewater the system. So I'd like to summarize as well, contamination-wise from human activities, human body. So almost the 40% of nitrogen of total nitrogen input in the wastewater treatment plant is actually from the human urine. About 89% of phosphorus of wastewater treatment plant are from the human urine as well. Okay, including urine and feces, of course. So 40% and 90% of nitrogen and phosphorus respectively from human body, human activity into wastewater treatment plant. So please imagine, so we separate those nitrogen, phosphorus, and other contaminant into some separate treatment and recovery system instead of using wastewater treatment system. So then that's the scenario and hypothesis of my BeeVi systems to recover, recycle, and reuse of our reuse the human urine and feces. So right now the 60%, about the 16% of water out of a whole treatment water are being recovered to be reused, 16%. How about the wastewater sludge, wastewater waste in the form of the solid? Okay, so about the 60% of waste, and that's the 23% of the waste are wasted forever and recycled respectively. Only 24% is only recycled to be transferred into the compost of other purposes. So 60%, 76% of waste from wastewater treatment plant are waste forever. Okay, so these are our wastewater treatment plants, the situations we are facing, we are using through the system of wastewater treatment. Okay, and then so we are appreciating their service to treat our wastewater, solid and liquid, whatever those are, using those, and in return, even though we paying certain money as a fee and expenses, but we appreciate their service to keep our environment as clean as possible, as safe as possible. But so we discuss about the risk and danger in the system as opposed to the environment. So it should be true. There is no other options to the public. We don't have any other options except accepting these types of wastewater treatment system. Okay, so then it can be concluded our present sanitation system is not a system because we don't have any option to select other than accepting only one option, right? So it is a more likely environment. It is more likely environment to the public, to us. So please look at these BeeVi systems. By the way, BeeVi, out of this terminology, B is honeybee. So V, the second V, is from vision. So we have a vision like a honeybee. So honeybee, as you know, collected all the valuable honey from the flower to their home to be shared by other colleagues and queens and their children. So like those, so we collect our precious waste, so-called. Hopefully, we probably have a different name instead of waste, but we collect our waste into a separate instead of a wastewater system to be used to produce a valuable energy out of it, valuable fertilizer as a form of composted. So then we can produce a valuable, precious energy and other the product, commodity sometimes. So this is toilet. We designed this one. This is only one in the world. So we have these types of toilet in a science cabin, 과일집, inside the campus of UNIST. So these tool separate our urine and feces, separate into that to be collected separately. So the urine at the front of this toilet collected to the storage tank, and using biological oxidation systems, followed by digestion. So we have a fertilizer, liquid fertilizer, to be used for our agriculture. Okay. And poo, feces, the collected separated from the rear side of this the BeeVi toilet and a storage tank, and to be sent into biological anaerobic digestions, like a fermentation tank, fermentation reactor. Through this anaerobic digestion, so we produce methane. We produce methane as the bioenergy to be used by the boiler to heat the water to be supplied to the public for their shower, for their cooking. And also we have this the fuel cell to generate electricity. So even if you are not the engineer and scientist, this is a very straightforward process. So you don't have to understand the whole process. Okay, this is not the science and engineering class. So this is a science, the humanity class. So by the way, we separate the poo, we separate the feces, our tongue, into special storage tank to be sent into where? Fermentation reactor, anaerobic digestion, to produce what? Methane are used for boiler and fuel cell to heat the water or to generate electricity. Okay. By the way, urine, once again, separate into the separate tank to be treated by biological oxidations to remove certain toxicity out of urine, and followed by the being condensed into liquid fertilizer. Okay, those process. These the facilities also placed in the science cabin, 과일집, inside the campus of UNIST. So if you have the opportunity sometime after pandemic or even during pandemic, the period you can visit this 과일집, and this is it. So inside the science, the UNIST campus, we have the building of a building number 125. Beside 노천극장, it's an outdoor theater. Do you know we have an outdoor theater? So since the start of this UNIST campus, so we never use this one as public the concert. Okay, so unfortunately, right now it's very old. Sometimes I hope we can have an outdoor concert with the singers, with the player. So right beside that, we have a science cabin. So 과일집 in Korean. Why 과일집? This is not a fruit store, but 과일이 일상으로 들어오는 집. A science cabin where science come into everyday lives. Okay, so I hope you visit us sometime very soon. This shows the inside the science cabin. We have a kitchen. Beyond the kitchens, the glass wall, we have an engineering lab. We have a lot of the store, a lot of the floor and the room and the guest house types of the studio. And sometimes we have the music concert inside the science cabin. So we have a room to be used by you after reservation. We have a BeeVi toilet, urine and feces. We have a studio. So inside a lot of activity actually. So we have so your poo and urine transport into biological facilities. This is the science cabin. So once again, how much water does a BeeVi toilet use against the conventional traditional flushing toilet? The flushing toilet use approximately 10 liter per one flush. So even you urine and then you push the button to use 10 liter. With the BeeVi toilet, we only 0.5 liter for urine. We have two buttons. One button for urine, the other button for the feces and poo. Okay, for poo you use 1 liter. For urine you use 0.5, half a liter. Okay, so we can save basically water. So what if we use the BeeVi toilet? What our everyday data looks like? So we can use BeeVi toilet and subsequent system with urine and the feces, like this one I already mentioned. And then using the methane, we produce the electricity, and we have a compost, the liquid and solid fertilizer to be used for our gardening. So without poo, without our urine, our wastewater relatively clean, right? And we use the wetland types of wastewater treatment instead of instead of a concentralized wastewater system. So we used wetland types of wastewater to use to enough to keep the river as clean. Okay, so the biological process produce methane as well as carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide is we don't want to be discharged into the atmosphere because it is the climate, global warming gases. So we use this the carbon dioxide to grow algae. So green algae. The algae that can be harvested to be used to produce the biodiesel. Biodiesel is relatively the clean fuel compared to petroleum diesels. So everything out of our poo and the urine can be utilized as resources to produce energy and fertilizer. So this is the visionary, the schematic, and the Photoshop what would like to be if we selected the BeeVi toilet against the flushing toilet. So with the BeeVi, so we can increase the water reuse rate from 1 to by 40%. How about the compost? So we can increase about 3 times. Okay, if you selected the BeeVi toilet. So so you understand, even if you are not familiar with this the BeeVi toilet. Okay, so we selected the sanitation system in terms of BeeVi toilet against the present wastewater systems. Okay, so the first we would like to the valuable the product instead of waste to be discharged into the sea and river. The second, we would like to generate the valuable data against the big data. I mean, conventional big data we are facing with everyday base right now. So it looks good. So you may say to me, it looks good, but it's not tangible yet, not sensible yet, because you are the first three experience these types of data. So I'd like to summarize you with this BeeVi toilet. The first water, how much water we can save. So 10 times per day, you push the flushing toilet with the 10 liter per flush, we can save approximately 100 liters. How much do you know how much we use the water everyday base per person? About 300 liters. So 1/3 that can be saved. 1/3 of water can be saved if we selected BeeVi toilet instead of flushing toilet. How about the methane? How much methane can be produced out of the poo, the feces? So about 20 and 50 liters per person per day. So depending on your amount of poo, how much the poo you put every day? Can you imagine? How much gram do you think you produce our poo? So before coming into the toilet, you measure your weight, and after uses the toilet, you measure, and then subtracting those weight, and you calculate your poo, the produce a day. So approximately from publications, 200 to 800 gram, depending on person, of a poo, okay, excreted from a person. So we take average is 200 or 500, then we produce 20 and 50 liters of methane as a biogas. So we produce out of this methane, we produce 0.2, 0.5 kilowatt hour out of poo per person per day. Okay, how much is it? For example, take example of a Tesla electricity car. So with the capacity 5 to 6 kilometer per kilowatt hour. So with one person's poo, subsequent to methane, we can operate Tesla electricity car to travel how much? 2.5 kilometer. So it seems small, but it seems big as well, depending on your scale, depending on your imaginary criteria. So this is only waste from our body. Everyday base, we excrete this one through flushing toilet. But instead of those, we produce our energy out of our waste, would be waste. So we convert those one by our selections. That's why we start our system of sanitation instead of accepting our environment of sanitations. So from flushing toilet to BeeVi toilet. Okay. And combine everybody in a Korean peninsula, the poo through BeeVi toilet. So it is almost impossible. I know it is almost impossible to collect the poos, every poo from everybody in the Korean peninsula. But if it is possible, so we can generate how much electricity out of a total electricity generated a day with a value of 1.4 megawatt hour. So about 1% out of our poo. Okay. So now we waste it. But if we select through communication within BeeVi sanitation system to be communicated with the data out of this one, then about 1%, so to the maximum 2% of electricity can be generated from the poo waste. Okay, so that's my proposal. That's my proposal. So you don't have to be interested in this, but so this is only my proposal. Yes. So you may say, yes, I understand, but I'm not still certain why we have to select BeeVi toilet, why you have to switch. Okay. So right now it's okay. So everybody happy, maybe happy about the flushing toilet, because flushing toilet is great invention I already mentioned to keep our environment, as clean and as safe, as sanitary as possible, right? But so my proposal to propose you and us to the public to switch the environment of sanitation to system of environment, a system of sanitation, right? So where we can communicate, where we have a different option to select for us, for future, for the earth, to challenge the climate emergency and many others. So participation 1. So if you were me, so I propose this BeeVi toilet. So, but the response, the reaction from the public is very, very low. So different from my expectations. What would be your response? So to convince the public to select more the BeeVi toilet, what could be your convincing tactic, convincing sentence? or response. Please write your answer at the topic of May 11 with the topic of BeeVi on the application of Street Smart, please. So the BeeVi system provided with intermediate platform as code. What do you think? Even if we have the value of energy, value with respect to the water save, so those are desirable in terms of engineering, in terms of environmental engineering, and the circular economy that some of you already mentioned. But we still to reach to the levels of the data to be against the big data, so that we challenge the paradigm provided by, the governed by, and controlled by the big brother types of a company like Google, like Apple and Amazon. How we actually tackle with those the paradigm and order, okay, in digital society. So that's why I propose intermediate platform as a code to produce our new data to the system inside the present and conventional big data, to produce chaos as I hope revolution levels. So we use the idea of pragmatism. I already talked to you the last week through the book of pragmatism written by William James, a physicist, right? The professor, the William James. So we use we can use a new concept to complete all the concepts. Let's put those pragmatism into this example of a BeeVi system. What could be all the concept? Toilet concept, with the example of a flushing toilet, right? To keep our sanitation safe. But we to put the new concept into old concept through this pragmatisms into this sanitation keeping toilet, which is a flushing toilet, by what? New concept of money, because we are building circular economy out of this one through methane, through water save, and through composite and the fertilizer. So to complete both sanitation and economic system, especially economic, the circular economic. So then we bring new concept and new horizon of money, based on the definition of a philosophical the philosophy of money. Then we complete our sanitation to complete. That's the purpose of the pragmatism. Okay, so it is physics standard money. It is a physics standard money. Let's design a money in a scientific and a systematic way. Okay, in the name of that, out of our pool, we produce the value. We put those value into philosophy of money. And as well as we produce the value, we also produce the unit of account, the standard of value, into the new horizon, new criteria, new scale to measure other value of other the product and services we've been using in everyday lives of ours. Okay. So we propose we propose the new money out of this pool. So we name it as feces standard money. Feces standard money. So one person from one person's pool a day, we put the specific money with the unit of a goal. The goal is a unit of a feces standard money by 10 goal. So you are producing 10 goal in everyday lives. We use those scale to measure other value with the value of 10 goal. So when you're visiting the supermarket and traditional market to buy the product and the milk and the vegetables and the fish and other commodities in the unit of a goal, which is unit of feces standard money. If you bring the dollar, won, and the bitcoins and the credit card, you are perplexed. So if you bring the feces standard money to buy those, then finally you can buy. So this is only imaginary market, but we can imagine from our engineering, from our scientific, from our business design for our society under digital technologies. So if we design new market where we can use only feces standard money, and then we can price every product, every services in the unit of a good. Okay, what happened after those? What happened after those? Okay, that's my questions. So then how it works? So if you own the bakery shop, the store, like a Body Baguette, at the end of the day, some product of a cake and the coffee and other product from your services, the probably over deadline to be deadline for services. Tomorrow you can not sell any longer because due date already passed by, right? So at tonight you put your product in the bucket of feces standard money, and some person actually alarmed. They can be alarmed to come into your store to buy using their feces standard money. We call this the product as underutilized resources. Otherwise, everything tomorrow should be dumped into the waste. Okay, so we sell and we exchange those precious products still before that deadline of a service, deadline of a transaction. And or if you own the cinema and theater, so weekdays there are lots of vacancy. There's a lot of vacancy of a seat, and you put some portion of your seat for the theater for the feces standard money transactions. Some public can come into your theater to look at the movie by paying entrance the fee with the feces standard money. Okay, so and then the feces standard money has another characteristics. This money disappear by -7% per day, -7% per day, and after 1 month, all the money you receive today disappear. So disappear is not the death. It's a death, but as well as the birth of a newly. So the money can actually disappear and to be burned over and over again. So it follows the law of nature. Instead of being accumulated in a vault forever, to attract our desire to accumulate the money as many as possible, to invest your money and our money into investing the capitals. So that's the basic of capitalism. I admire and respect sometimes capitalism, but if we design our money newly by this way to exchange our underutilized resources, and also the money disappear and not to be accumulated, not cashable at all, okay? It produces another value out of our existing value as well. And then every day you receive 10 good, right? That's more likely or equivalent of basic income, because you use your pool to be virtually produced with methane and fertilizer, as well as through the saving of water. Then you got the 10 good. You got 10 good from the system of a BeeVi toilet. And then you are supposed to share 3 good out of 10 good to your peers, your colleagues in the system. Through this one, we connect the people by people, the peer by people inside this community of sanitation systems. Through this connectivity, we are creating new value, whatever it is. Okay, so I proposed for the first time in 2016 at Etch site. So you visit etch.org. So there are a lot of think tank types of idea. So among those in 2016, so I proposed. So I also published a book from UK with the title of Honey Money, FSM is standard money, the new money for the new society. So if you're interested in please visit Etch Foundation site at etch.org, and you can buy, or we have this book in our UNIST library if you borrow this Honey Money. So there are a lot of theories and the philosophies, artistic approach with this physics standard money. Okay, so I did explain, even it is not enough. So you may be not aware of a total what this the physics standard money is, but please, okay, accept my apology. This is a short time, and not enough to explain the total characteristics and the limitation, of course, and the advantage of this physics standard money under circular economy and the waste reuse systems. But what do you think is a big difference to make you to better understand? Okay, the big difference in character between FSM and Bitcoin. What could be big difference between two? Okay, please. Okay, both are currencies, right? So Bitcoin and FSM are currencies. But so the please remind you of what the capital is, what money is. So some of you mentioned real money. So what could be real? So reality. So we already discussed this one when we discussed about the fact and truth. So real, so we can tangible. So you touch, you sense Bitcoin, the virtually, but we can actually feel. But FSM, If you log in and use FSM, you can touch, you can sense the presence of the FSM money as well. So FSM is also real money. Okay, the credit money, like a credit money, we are using the credit card, but credit card is not real. It should be real. So if as far as we can use, so there must be real. But the capital-wise, capital is different. So capital is imaginary, sometimes hallucinated without any objective reality. Then we can produce continuously the value out of this capital, which is the definition of a capital as well. So the Bitcoin is capital to some degree, right? So you invest your dollar and Korean won to get Bitcoin to produce another money. So then we can define those situations as capital, under capital, with the capitalisms. Okay, so that's but the FSM is not very difficult to be at the capital. It may be possible in different way. Okay, the Bitcoin can be cashable, right? The dollar and Korean won. But FSM cannot cashable because it disappears. So nobody wants to get to accumulate the FSM. It disappears. So after 1 month, it disappears forever. But we produce a newly everyday base from our toilet. So it may be not desirable by the public in that way, but there are advantages as well, I hope. So a lot of things. So it is not the capital in many aspects. It cannot be accumulated because it disappears as rusting money. It cannot be cashable. So it produces a new unit of account. 측도, 가치의 측도, right? 가치의 측도. What could be the Bitcoin? What could be the Bitcoin's unit of account, standard of value? So indirectly or sometimes directly connected to human labor, the human labor time, right? Even though it is not directly connected to human labor, but we can imagine this is very valuable through capital as well, but based on the human labor as well, because the Bitcoin can be transferred or cashable to the dollar and Korean won. But FSM, so we are building new paradigm of value based on our value out of a pool with the unit of a 꿀, okay, with the standard centering around the 10 꿀 per day, and then we price every other value and product and services based on those value, based on unit of account, the standard. And then we price every other in different way, and then we can communicate because we produce a lot of data centering around the value with the different prices to be generated from every communication in the market with FSM in bakery shop, and theater, and conventional market, and art communication as well. So we are doing transaction with FSM to generate the data newly between our peer inside the system of a BeeVi to get the super connectivity, okay, to increase our social physics. That's my hypothesis for us to use this FSM together with our conventional money like a dollar and Korean won, but additionally to produce new value, new unit of account, new value standard, okay, more importantly, to generate the data to shake the conventional paradigm based on big data. So that's my purpose, is as a coded the platform of the BeeVi the systems. So please imagine, please understand why I selected this BeeVi toilet. Finally, to get at the platform to generate the data, the based on value out of our waste on the circular systems, circular economy systems, okay, to challenge the paradigm, okay, paradigm and the flame of big data, because we are living in the Anthropocene era under digital technology in digital times. So that's my purpose. Okay, so we extended this discussion on a Thursday class, okay, with the topic of a sign and the platform as code as well. Okay, so this is a song. This is a song by singer-songwriter the Park Sung-hoon, who is also the faculty and the professor at the Suncheon Jeonnam University. Okay, so he made this song based on philosophy of a physicist and the money. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, I enjoy it. And thank you for your the participation. So please enjoy this one.
혼자서는 다 못 먹을 만큼 사과가 있다면 그 사과 상하기 전에 친구와 나눠 먹겠어요. 돈이 사과처럼 매일 조금씩 상해간다면 그런 돈 집에 쌓아두고 싶지 않을 거예요. 먹고 싶은 빵을 사고 사과를 사고 음악회도 가고 영화도 볼 거예요. 아무도 그 돈을 모아서 부자가 되려 하지 않을 거예요. 우리가 날마다 누는 똥이 이 돈이 된다면 그 똥으로 가스도 만들고 퇴비도 만든다면 그래서 똥을 눌 때마다 돈을 받을 수 있다면 날마다 똥을 누는 일이 재미있을 거예요. 그 돈으로 책을 사고 차를 마시고 전시회도 가고 연극도 볼 거예요. 아무도 그 돈을 모아서 부자가 되려 하지 않을 거예요. 이런 상상 조금은 엉뚱하게 들리겠지만 이런 상상만으로도 참 즐겁지 않나요? 참 즐겁지 않나요?
I hope you enjoy it and see you on Thursday. Thank you.